You ever notice how fast your mind goes to, it's them, they're the problem, they're difficult, they don't get it, and it feels completely true and justified. But if you slow that moment down just a little, something important underneath is there, and most of us don't stay long enough to see it. That moment right there, that's what this podcast is about. Seeing what's here.
Hey, Vanessa, how are you?
I'm
How
good.
are
Good
things?
morning. They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's, like I was sharing earlier, yesterday was just kind of some weird energies. I felt like, just bleeding out of me, going to multiple different places, but I was able, get out in nature, take a walk and bring it back in
Mm,
for sure.
yep, that's always really good.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this week because, whenever we used to get together, we would kind of go over what we would work on the week prior. And the one thing that I was really hooked on that we talked about a lot was inspired action. And so this week, it was really neat because I actually made some headway on the website.
Nice.
Because I got to figure out some kind of way that I'm gonna turn this into something. I've got some ideas, but I need to, actually put real, like, I actually figured out how to attach Stripe to the website.
Oh, great.
And
Yeah.
so, and I've picked a template for the website that I think is going to be pretty close to what I'm doing. And it just brought me back to thinking about how helpful the sessions that we had were, because it's that kind of work that we did that doesn't seem like it's a lot, but it's a lot. Following your triggers, things like that, and staying with it. That's a really big thing. When I see all your videos and stuff, it's like, that's where the magic is. It's in the trigger. It's in that moment where it's like you got an emotion of some sort. What is it? What is the emotion? And instead of trying to push it away, which is what we normally do, like by self-identifying or whatever, or really doubling down, you say all the time, sit with it, be there with it.
Right.
And so I'm trying to think of how that happened this week. Well, I think it was just most of the time, at my age especially, I have to deal with like my body getting older and not being able to do as much. And so there's a little bit of shame and guilt and like not being able to get as much done as I used to. And so I sit with that now. And instead of just push it away, or I think one of the things that was easy to do is drink it away, right?
Sure.
Something like that. I can just sit with it and say, hey, it's okay. Where did that shame and guilt come from anyway? Where was that? Where did that really come from?
Right.
And if I walk that back, I can say that a lot of that isn't even mine. A lot of that was kind of indoctrinated, built into my nervous system. And I don't have to go that way anymore.
Absolutely not. That's
So
really cool. That's a big release. I mean, that's something that we talked about in our early sessions, that the Ima, the mother consciousness, and then the Abba, the father consciousness. So that mother, the Ima consciousness, is you're sitting with how you're feeling, whatever, or even the physical pain of something, and then going into a releasing. Like, I don't have to hold on to this story or the guilt or the shame.
Right.
And it's not part of me.
Right. Yeah. And I don't have to build a story or have any kind of control, because that's a lot of my response in the beginning was like to build some kind of method of control. I'm going to do these things this way.
Right.
But instead, no. Instead of that, I'm trying to release blocks, get blocks out of the way.
That's what we're doing.
For more flow.
Exactly.
That's in your sessions, flow is a very important thing. And that to me, that was important to me, like in life, because life feels better when it's flowing.
Absolutely. Yeah. 100%. That's
Yeah.
that term Mazal Tov. When people say Mazel Tov, people say it as kind of like, oh, good luck or a congratulatory term, but it actually means good flow. And that's what we want in life. Even think of body ailments. A lot of times it's because there's something that is blocked up or constricted in some way. And
not flowing.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's so important.
And like going back to a past podcast, as above, so below, maybe there's something we're not paying attention to in our spiritual or soulful life that needs to be given some attention.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Great.
So,
That's a good discovery.
what's been on your mind
Yeah.
this
So
week?
this week, I was listening to gosh, I don't even remember who it was now, but they said something in their teaching and it really just stuck with me. It's that we give people an excuse for bad behavior, which I don't even really like the term bad behavior, just whatever. So we'll just say behavior. So we give people an excuse for their behavior when we don't trust their capacity to grow. And it stuck with me because, there's been in my life recently a lot of challenges with people. And I was just thinking, well, am I trusting their capacity to grow? I think of the clients that I work with, and I do trust their capacity to grow. And so that's where I feel like I can push and challenge them because I know they have that capacity to grow. But don't we all have a capacity to grow? I was talking with my husband about that last night, and he was saying his thoughts about growth, it's the ability though to see something from another perspective. Like when we are not willing to do that,
Right.
then we're stuck.
Yeah.
We don't have that growth and that expansion.
I was trying to think of a podcast that I saw where I can't remember what psychologist it was talking about. There was a guy that used to steal cars, and then all of a sudden they're trying to break him of that habit, because it's not a good thing to be stealing cars. But and could you grow out of that?
Mhm.
And he remembers that guy saying, this is just where I'm at. It's like where they are in their development. I remember when I was younger, I did I had like a savior thing.
Mhm.
If I would meet somebody and they would be in a certain way, I'd feel like, yeah, I could probably help you. Or there was some reason why I came into your life where I need to help you or do something like that. But now at my age, I can leave it alone, you know, because
Mhm.
it's just where they're at.
Right.
And maybe that's like, because we talk about this all the time, like you're, if you don't work through something, it's just given back to you again. It's like a
Mhm.
game.
Oh,
And if
right.
you don't work through it, it's just gonna
Right.
give you a new player, new
Right.
circumstance, and here's the
Right.
same game.
Yeah.
And then you've just got to figure that out. And I don't know. Was it a particular friend that had this issue, like that you're worried about their growth?
No, not in particular. It was more about the people who have presented challenges to me
Hmm.
lately, and I was thinking, do they even have the capacity to grow?
Oh yeah,
And I'm like,
right.
well, yeah, we all do, right? But in order to do that, it's almost again like maybe just letting go of that ego or the lenses through which I am seeing the world or the map
Hmm.
and being willing to look and just shift that a little bit.
Hmm. I'm trying to think of my recent time about people not willing to grow. Or you know what? I guess in my own personal experience, the only thing that I can think of is whenever I get pushed because I'm not doing the growth. It's almost like if I become too apathetic,
Mhm.
the world kind of just comes at you and then you respond to it.
Sure.
And that to me, whenever I become irritated or angry
Mhm.
or disagreeable like that, then
Right.
that's usually a sign that it's like I'm not growing in some
Mhm.
capacity.
Mhm.
So it's funny because I brought up that Nancy story because I couldn't
Mhm.
remember if we had met before or after this story, but I was
Right.
in customer service
Right.
and I remember it was a Saturday that I had the on call. And typically I took it so, seriously. But this particular Saturday, I scheduled to help my son do some work demolishing a big old deck.
Mhm.
And so, and that was the same week as all that news in North Carolina too, with remember all that rain that happened?
Oh,
And it
that's
just
right.
really
Right.
just decimated that whole area.
Right.
And the work I did, it was nationwide. So I had customers all throughout the whole area. And so, I kind of listened and I couldn't empathize anymore because it's like that's just too much. I have too many customers all over the place. I can't empathize for everybody because
Right.
I'd be
Right.
eaten up, right? But you could collectively, I mean, you know that there was that energy there like that. And so there I was, me and my sons just tearing off this deck, and so all my testosterone was going, you know, "Rrr, rrr, rrr." And I'm not thinking I'm going to get a phone call at all, but then I get this phone call, and it's a client in Canada, and she starts in about how this is going to be the worst call that I get for the whole weekend. And it's because, you know, she scheduled everybody, and she's the owner of the company even, but she scheduled everybody for this, I think it was a Canadian New Year's, and she just wanted to just unload on me. And it was like, it was not the right time, right? And I just gave it to her like, Nancy, who the hell do you think you are?
Mm-hmm.
You know? And then she was blah, blah, blah. And I was like, I'm not listening to this. Click. And I just hung right the hell up. And then I went back to tearing everything apart, you know, and I was like, oh, shit. That's not good. Because I thought, you know, as a manager, when I used to be an operations manager, it's like, that's kind of a red flag. You know, you don't want to treat your customers that way,
Right.
you know?
Right.
So what was it? And that set me on the whole thing of trying to figure out, okay, why was I being this disagreeable? What was it about Nancy that was triggering me?
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
And then again, and I don't know if it goes to what you're talking about, but it, to me, it's almost like I don't understand why I have to be that way, because I was trying really hard to work on a problem and I wasn't going for help. And then that's what you guys were friends already. You and Jessica were friends,
Right.
and you'd had this therapy. And for years and years, I'd tried myself to just work through it, you know, mind over matter, mind over matter. But you had a lot of really good ideas. You could articulate the things that I was doing that I was just doing blind. And then you could get me to like concentrate on, how about here? How about we just stop right here? And then those things about Nancy, it was not even about Nancy.
Never
You
is.
know?
It's never about Nancy.
Right. And it was never about that situation. It was more about what was going on internally.
Right.
And how maybe I did feel like there was some help that I could have been given the North Carolina people that I didn't, and I wasn't. I was being apathetic. But in what way was I being apathetic? It's like, yeah, because you're not even doing what you should be doing. It's like, well, what should you be doing? Well, I don't know. But you should stop, meditate, and then go from there.
Right.
So yeah, can people grow? I don't know. Like, I know that there's some people that they're gonna stay the way they are. It's like a story that they want to repeat over and over. They don't want to overcome that story.
Yeah.
You know, they don't want to overcome that. It's their identity. It's if they lose it, they lose themselves almost.
So true. They've identified the puppet or the character that they're playing. And it was that same teaching. Who was it? It'll come to me later. But he was talking about, you know, how often then once we realize, you know, some of the things that we're talking about here, that it's all within, then we're like, oh, why did it take so long? Why was I behaving in this way? Or why was I going down this path? And it's because we needed to just try that on and see how it fit and play that out. Right? And there's the Jewish word of tikkun, there's a rectification that needed to happen. So I needed to play this character for a time to see how that fit with my soul, and then rectify that. So yeah. And so instead of beating ourselves up, I've done that before, where it's, you know, why was I that way? Well, because you needed to be that way for that time. You know, you don't want to stay in that, but you're rectifying or fixing something by playing that character for a while.
Yeah, it's weird because like I tell you all the time, I have this idea that everybody's on their own journey. And so I always feel like you can't spiritually bypass this journey.
No.
And so like when you have these moments like that, it's life getting you back on your real soul's purpose in whatever small way it can.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know?
For sure.
But you know, it's funny though, when you look at somebody else and say, well, are they not capable of growth anymore? I always wonder, well, I always think about that whole thing about everybody having their own path. So it's like, maybe they're going to have to repeat that.
Yeah.
That's their stone of Sisyphus. That's the one that they're going to have to keep going up the hill with,
Right.
over and over. And it really isn't for us to say, why do you keep struggling with that like that? Like, here's the easy way, but that's not your stone. Her stone is that.
Right.
I'm reminded of that story that Jordan Peterson likes to tell about that client that he had where she just had this miserable life, right? But she was so helpful to the people around her, and that was the life she had to leave. That was her suffering, and I think that's what it is sometimes. You got to find your thing. It's not going to be perfect. There is, what I have learned is that through trying to control outcomes or control anything,
Right.
is that you really don't have any control except for, the frame that you have about it. And then if you do a lot of work on that, then you realize that it's all just an illusion. All of it is really just an illusion.
I can say that, but in real life, like living that out is hard because especially when we're hurting, it feels so stinking real. It's like, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
But also too, what's the balance when we're saying, okay, this person has their own journey, their own stone to roll up a hill, but is that excusing or tolerating patterns in others that if somebody's abusive, I don't know, I'm not articulating my thought exactly. Saying that somebody's got their own pathway and their own journey, which is true, but then what if you're married to somebody that is abusive, or a parent excusing an adult child's behavior, or a friend who's constantly abusing your boundaries, or
Ooh, that's tough.
or there's the reverse, somebody that's demanding accountability from everybody else but then refusing to examine themselves. What does that actually look like between two people? Because we're in relationship with everything and everyone.
We are.
Whether we like it or not.
Yeah, we are. And that's a really big question because, lately I realized that in the beginning of my life, it was, for your family, just to get acceptance from them. And then you step out into the adult world and then it's your society. And then, I don't know, it just, now that we've seen the world and the institutions and how everything kind of did what it did, it was really just, all of that was just how everybody was thinking it was going to work, but it really didn't have anything behind it for it to really work that way. Like, just take the COVID and the vaccine and that whole thing, that's like healthcare that went cuckoo. This idea of taking care of everybody, but then it just went crazy. And, obviously there were people behind it that made that happen that way, but we were all ready to just fall for it. A lot of people were ready just to fall for it. But again, that's a lot of people still haven't said they're sorry for all the shit that they said to us about that. Remember when they called us grandma killers, and people who still don't talk to us now because we still don't believe that the vaccine was what they say it is. And they're so into that mindset, the frame of healthcare is right. Healthcare, the way we're doing it is apparently the right way. Like, they're into it, right? I can't argue with them anymore. So like, just let them be. Let them have their Ozempic and let them do their thing because they're going to, right? I'm not going to stop it.
Right.
But what I can do is just not give it any energy.
Yeah.
I don't have to give that energy at all. And I think that's what happened, because first it was like my father and understanding it through his eyes, and then through my employer and through society's eyes. And then finally to understand that there was nothing outside of me nothing outside of me was answering the question. Every time I would try something, well, is it more money? No, because here's that with more money. Well, is it bigger houses? Nope, here's that with bigger houses. Is it this for that? Nope, here's that.
Right.
It's always outside. And then at the very end, I saw, you know, where I was working and I
Mhm.
really believed in what I was doing, but it was software for propane companies.
Mhm.
And I realized that we were just scaring them because they wanted more and they felt like if they didn't understand the software properly, they wouldn't get the more that they needed. And it was just a sick game. You know, it was once I saw that I couldn't unsee it. And then I started to work that way. And of course that's the way the work showed. And it was no good. But it was my time to go. See? I couldn't
Yeah.
stay there.
Yeah. Right.
So I think everybody is capable of growth, I think. It's it's going to look different on
Right.
everybody.
Right. Yeah. And then how that impacts us, I mean, if it's others behaving in a way that is not aligned with the direction we're going, sometimes that just, yeah, causes a rift and a split. That's, we can't walk this path together then. I'm just thinking about in relationship.
Oh my
But sometimes you're
God.
forced into relationships, whether it's,
Yeah.
a work colleague or family, although often today a lot of family don't talk to each other. I don't know.
Mhm. Well, I mean, I don't have any problem. Like, if I needed to pick up the phone to call my parents, I suppose I could.
Mhm.
I would love to,
Mhm.
but I don't
Mhm.
because it just upsets everybody. It's almost
Mhm.
like kicking over a hive or something.
Mm,
Just the phone call itself
right.
and hello, and then it's
Mhm.
like the bees start buzzing, and it's like I don't even want to do that. I don't
Right.
want to do that.
Right.
I just want to leave everybody to their own
Yeah.
and let them figure it out. I am here for the people who are
Yeah.
starting to see it.
Yeah.
Today, during my meditations, I was thinking about Plato's cave again.
Mhm.
And it's like, I'm getting out of the cave. That's kind of where I feel like I'm at. Just
Mhm.
kind of getting myself out of the cave. And I see a lot of people with me that are understanding all what we've been told and it's all bullshit. And we're helping each other
Mhm.
get out of the cave. And so that's what I feel like I'm really here to help
Mhm.
people do. Because I was very encouraging in the
Mhm.
3D world in my prior
Yeah.
life. As a manager, I would encourage and help build people and help run processes and things. But now in the second half of life, I think the soul has been so neglected for years. And now people need a place to go to where the soul has refuge. And that's what I hope I can do with Chronicles of Pablo. So if you need to, you can reach out to info@chroniclesofpablo.com. And yeah, I mean, I'm just a working class guy that kind of, like I'm saying, I'm getting out of Plato's cave.
Mhm.
So, we can help each other.
Right.
So wherever you're on, sometimes it's real simple.
Yeah.
Like you talk about growth. I remember one time when I realized that because I wanted so badly to just be a truck driver. I saw that being a truck driver was a nice way to grow a family. I saw my father do it. Not my father, my grandfather.
Mhm.
I saw him do it. I saw a friend of mine, his father, he did it. I was like, I would love to do that.
Mhm.
Build a house, have a wife, have children, and drive a truck and just, you know, deliver something every day. I don't know,
Mhm.
something like that. But you grow. I did that for a while and it's like, well, is that all there is to slinging cylinders and delivering the propane?
Mhm.
And then it's almost like you're if you're doing it right, then you realize that you're not really suited for that anymore and it's time to move on,
Mhm.
you know?
Yeah.
Or then maybe you are suited for it and you stay there. You
Sure.
figure out how to stay there.
Sure. Yeah.
And that is your destiny.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, because again, I think it would have been way easier if I could have just been a truck driver. I would have liked that. But they made it so hard, to just be a truck driver.
What, the system?
That society,
Mm.
that people, they frown upon truck drivers. Nobody wants to drive a truck. Hopefully things are turning around, with the tradies and trades are becoming more popular.
Mhm.
But, for the most part, anybody who actually does the real heavy lifting in our society, they don't really get the acknowledgement they should,
Right.
you
Right.
know?
Of course not.
Yeah. Everybody else with the high degrees and all that,
Yeah.
they get all the kudos. And it's like the guy who actually, you know, delivers the stuff or puts the gas in the tank.
Essential workers.
Yeah, those people, you guys shit on them all the time, or we shit on them all the time. And, we probably shouldn't. And the thing is that why are those jobs treated that way? Mike Rowe used to ask that question all the time with his dirty
Yeah.
jobs whole take on things, and
Right.
I was with them on that. It's like, how come people don't respect people that are, cleaning your bathroom,
Right.
your
Right.
your restroom, your toilets?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why are they any different from you?
Yeah.
They are you.
Right.
And I think that's the cool thing
Yeah.
is if you keep doing the work, you realize that there is no separateness. You are them.
Right. Right.
Maybe that's what
So
the problem
true.
is. People are afraid of that. They don't want to be that
Right. Yeah. Especially if
loser.
it's something that they dislike.
Yeah, they think it's
Yeah.
unlikable.
Right.
They don't see the beauty in it.
Yeah. But I think we mentioned this last week, or it came up, that it's if I'm bothered by something in another person, it is because I recognize it within myself. And it might not look the same or be at that same degree, but it's there. It resides within all of us. And yeah, that's that divine connection of all living things with source. Yeah.
I think going back to what you're talking about with the people and the growth and is it possible? I think it's the boundaries. I think your boundaries, I think, is what's important because again, you don't have really any control over them.
Oh, absolutely not.
I mean, you can offer things and all that, but
Sure.
it's not gonna. It might not even
Right.
help. It might aggravate.
Very true.
But mostly, it's a boundary. Like, okay, when you behave this way,
Yeah.
I'm out. I will not tolerate that.
Right.
As soon as I hear this, or as soon as this behavior happens, I'm out.
Right.
I don't need to accept that from you or anybody.
Right.
And it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, because ultimately, and the thing that people I think are really afraid of is when you go down that road, you will find yourself totally alone and in solitude. And that's what I think scares people a lot.
Yeah.
Because they'll be like, well, I need everybody, don't I? And the thing is that, and I think what ultimately what you have to come to a conclusion is that you are going to die and you're going to do it alone.
Very true.
And you better go ahead and start coming to terms with that because it's going to happen.
Yeah.
It could happen today,
Sure.
And that's what I think everybody's afraid of. They're afraid of losing their identity, losing who they think they are. And it's like, you won't know the kingdom until you do that. You have to lose that.
That's an ego death.
Yeah.
Not that we need to kill our egos. Our egos serve a purpose and have kept us alive. But yeah, we don't need to be slaves to it either. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And again, it's easy to demand growth from others while refusing to do it ourselves.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I was the worst about that.
That's where that I know, just in the collective consciousness with the Michael Jackson movie coming out, I'm seeing more posts about it. But yeah, that song
Michael.
"Man in the Mirror" has been in my head all week.
Great song.
Yeah.
That is it.
It
You want to make a better world?
Me.
Make a better world? You start with you.
Right.
It's you, baby.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. And we talked about, Jess and I, we talked about this a lot, about that saying about the kingdom of heaven is right in front of you. If you just can see it. And that is the fact.
Right.
Because most of the time you can't see the heaven that's right in front of you because of the frame and identity that you've built that kind of just makes it ugly. But if you were to, well, yeah, okay. So I'm going to do a little plug for my son's mushrooms. If you were to take a healthy dose of psychedelic mushrooms, what do you call it? What kind of dose is it called? Hero's dose. Hero's dose. I think that's like a calibration to joy. I think if I could make it a simple thing to that, it's a calibration of joy, because through life, it just sucks joy out of you. Every little interaction, it seems like it's like the negotiation is, give me some of your joy, and over time it's just gone. And the calibration for joy, the bar is low. But then you take those mushrooms and then all of a sudden it's a recalibration of joy. And you realize like you're like this 9-year-old kid again with just joy in your heart, And you're like, holy crap, it's like this all the time.
Yeah.
But it's me and my stupid mind things that keep me from it.
Yeah. That's our own blocks.
It's our own blocks. It's my own story.
Yeah.
the stories, I'm a Mexican, stories, I'm a truck driver, stories like I'm a dumbass, or whatever the
Yeah.
stories are.
Yeah.
They're just stories, and they're not you.
Yes. So true. 100%. It's not our true essence. They're just the stories we tell ourselves.
And it's all because you wanted to come down here and dance. You wanted the whole time, space dance.
Remember a couple of years ago, my brother sent me a message as we just text back and forth, and he's like, "Do you think this world is a battleground or a playground?" And I'm like, I used to think it was a battleground. I'm here to do battle and against the forces of evil.
Yeah,
And I'm like, no, the more I'm living, the more I'm like, no, this is a
It was a playground.
playground. Yeah,
I was supposed to have a good
exactly.
time. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. For sure.
So you're gonna go see the movie?
I would like to, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is a year of movies for me. It's interesting.
Well,
Like, there's
the
a
one we
lot.
saw, Project Hail Mary, that was really good. So I think, I mean, I like Michael Jackson. I used to try to emulate
Yeah.
all those moves back in the day.
Nice. So I think, as we continue on this week, just remembering, stop asking like what's wrong or what's wrong with me or what's wrong with them, but look at, okay, what am I refusing to see clearly in myself, and not through shame or blame,
Right.
just
But let that be how you know something's going on.
right.
When you feel it, it's like a
Yes,
bell,
yes,
and then
exactly.
sit with it.
Yes.
Let that bell
Yeah,
ring,
yeah,
and then find out where that comes from.
exactly. Yeah.
How does somebody get in touch with you if they want to talk more about
Yeah,
these kind of things?
absolutely. I am on social media, Instagram and YouTube primarily. And my business is Expansive Life Solutions, and I'm a Levamuna therapist and coach. And I'm learning hypnosis too.
Very good.
Yeah. So, yeah, my business again is Expansive Life Solutions. And you can find me on Instagram, YouTube, Vanessa Ramsey. Yeah. Thanks, Pablo.
Yeah. Thanks, Vanessa.
Yeah. All right. Have a good week.
Good to say.